Welcome to Roaming with Restless Women, real talk with wise, dynamic women leaders. I'm Julie Noonan, your host, CEO, and founder of Intuitive Wisdom Coaching, and I'm living my dream life. I live and work in my RV, coaching senior women leaders as they navigate corporate politics, family drama, and personal goals to live their own dream lives. These women are restless. They are never done seeking new opportunities, learning, and ways to create value in the world. If you'd like to apply to be a guest, stick around to the end of the show and I'll let you know how. So let's go. Hello and welcome to this version of Roaming with Restless Women. Today, we're talking with wise, dynamic woman leader, Ellen Tyler. Ellen is a certified transformation business coach with 30 years of business experience under her belt. I can relate. She's passionate about propelling purpose-driven executives, entrepreneurs, and employees to 6 and 7 figures without overworking. So she's a miracle woman, especially women. Why? Because Ellen's mission is for her clients to enrich their families, serve their clients optimally, and positively impact their communities. Well, Ellen, you're in the perfect place. Welcome.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Awesome. Okay, so tell me a little bit about your career. You've been in the game for 30 years, just like me. So tell me about you.
And you're so funny, Julie, because that's such a loaded question,
Yeah.
which is because we're a compilation of stories. And
Absolutely.
sometimes it's to look at how they move forward when we didn't know where it was going. And I always like to give stops along the way because that's really where there were some inflection points. And I always say I had no plans of what I was going to do when I came out of college. And I graduated during a recession. My first initial foray into what I thought a major was going to be was nuclear medicine, which
Oh my goodness.
I finished in business, and I had a really great skill of just saying yes and okay. I ended up working within financial services because I just accepted when they said you should go into sales as, sure, I'm an introvert. Why don't we do that?
Oh no. But then you found out you liked it?
That when you're labeled shy growing up, because my mom was so funny. She said, when the president was offering me the job, she goes, do they know what they're doing? Because in her image, I was shy, which, you put yourself in a school with 500 kids, of course, you're going to be a little bit overwhelmed. But you get this unique capability of just being able to understand and read people, which is a great skill for sales.
Absolutely.
And so not knowing that that was really what was going to help me, I just said, okay, if you think I can do this, and then they were going to move us from Chicago, which is blizzardly cold in the winter, to sunny California. I'm like, sure.
I'll take
Why?
that.
Um, and I'm just a good student. I'm a really great student. I understood that I had to learn things along the way. I liked investing. It fit the math side of what I like.
Mhm.
And I just progressed within that world. What I now know, because I liked the idea of opening territories, and then I worked as an advisor, opening offices. Well, that was an entrepreneur hiding in corporate,
Mm-hmm.
which I,
Absolutely.
but when we moved from Chicago to Georgia, it was the first time, and it's just to understand different regions run businesses differently. It was the first time I worked for a company out of New York, so I didn't understand the set of rules that they played on the playground with.
Mm-hmm.
So I did what was prudent at the time because somebody took me to a seminar, which I'm very fortunate. The very first coach I hired was the greatest of all time, Bob Proctor.
Oh
But
my goodness.
But it was Bob Proctor before he was Bob Proctor. And I always say that because it was before the movie The Secret came out, which propelled him and John Ostroff and Michael Beckwith. And, you can go
Oh,
on with,
yes.
but he made sense to me.
Yeah.
And so the brightest thing I did was hire him. I doubled my income in a year. I learned how to play by my roles. And then I did what didn't seem logical, but now helps my clients is I did not rehire him. Because you would think if you doubled your income, maybe you should do some more work with him.
Yeah,
No.
right.
But that journey became important for my clients is now I understand we are always working on ourselves. I just had that break and I just tell individuals, I'm here to shorten it for you. Like, just understand whether it's get a mentor, be in a mastermind group, have some accountability partners. It's not always run out and hire someone.
Right.
And, and then it fine-tuned itself with the last corporate role that I had, which was here in Atlanta, opening an office for a company who wanted, and I can say this because of your audience, older designated women.
Oh, lovely.
Well, I win all the time when they said that. I was like, okay. But they put us in a role that did not suit our personality at all. Very relationship driven. I'm that introvert who understands I love talking to people. I just want to cuddle up at night and read a book.
Right.
So about 7 months into that role, I was pretty miserable
Yeah.
for a lot of people because the relationship we got to establish with clients who were going to award us millions of dollars to invest for them, I had to tell them that they didn't get to talk to me anymore.
Mm-mm.
That I liked. And so I was miserable. I thought I need therapy or another coach. And at that point, Bob was still alive. He passed about 2 years ago, had partnered with a brilliant woman, Sandy Gallagher, who now owns and runs Procter Gallagher. And 3 months into that relationship, they made the offer to come and be trained and mentored by them to be a coach. Because I do get asked, why would you leave financial services? Because you're good in that. And I go, because I know the impact it had in me, I can do that for my clients. And so what looked like illogical to most made perfect sense to me. So that's how I got here.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. Bob Proctor. Whew. I'm so jealous.
Oh,
I
yes.
love that. So how long have you been a coach now?
So I started in 2019, and we all know what happened after that. And again, it's the story that had to help my clients because there is no perfect time.
Mm-hmm.
Really not a perfect time because I left in March of 2019 and I now have learned to say this, I am perfectly fine. But in July of 2019, I had open heart surgery that I was not planning on. Then you're going into rehab with the 90-year-olds, which was pretty fun because I'm a pretty talkative person talking to them. And then we all know what happened in March. The
Yes.
the reason that only became helpful was I just look at someone, I go, was that a perfect time to start a business?
I started in July of 2020.
There you go.
Yep.
What would go, are you nuts?
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, I didn't really have a choice. I was 57 and I had just been laid off.
And, but you pivoted.
Oh, yeah. I saw it
So
as an opportunity. I felt relief. I felt free. I was excited.
I will tell you the benefit of Bob making that offer. So he was 87 when he passed.
Yeah.
That man worked up until in December, he did a webinar and he passed in February.
Oh, my goodness.
But I looked at that. I already knew that I was always going to do something. And I'm
Yeah.
like, God didn't put me on this earth to go sit here and play golf all day long.
Mm-mm.
And I looked at him and he was about the same age as my dad. And my dad had had some medical issues. And I thought, oh, I prefer that. So when people think that you can't change, I was um I was well past when people thought you should change. and age is just a number.
Absolutely. 100% agree with you. I became a certified coach 2 years ago. Although, if it's anything like my story, we were coaching long before we became coaches. It's just for some folks, it's just a natural thing is to ask lots of questions and help people think.
Yep.
Absolutely. So you started your company um, at the beginning of COVID, right before COVID started. So,
Oh,
so how did you start with clients? Did you have projects just drop in your lap? How did it go in the very beginning?
well, my favorite way of explaining this is to help people understand my very first client was my best friend.
Oh,
That's pretty scary. And
yeah.
I hear that and they think, oh, that's easy. I go, no, it's not. She's a really great friend, and she had complete faith in me that I was going to be able to help her change. And so in the beginning, so if somebody can hear this and imagine, I had played in the corporate world. I didn't have to go network. I didn't have to figure out where people were going to come from. They were, in a sense, brought in the door from the company. And I thought, I don't know how to do this.
It's easier to sell for someone else than it is to sell for yourself.
So all of a sudden, we're tasked with A, I have to find people. So I have to market, I have to sell, and all those things rolled up. So we become everything. And I just interviewed and asked people questions.
Mhm.
If you were to start over, where would you go? Where would you go? What kind of network? And the best piece of advice I received was from a gentleman that I've known for a number of years. He helps people choose franchises. And the
Oh,
best he said was go visit it and see if you like it. And don't feel like you have to join every single organization because they're going to make you feel like you do. So I visited a lot.
yeah,
And that's really how I started.
that's amazing. And how did you incorporate social media at first, or did you wait on that?
Um, I waited on that.
Yeah.
I I wanted to understand how to just have real conversations to begin with because for this is my belief.
Mhm.
Social media is an extension of the value that you can bring. And it was to understand where are the potential people I want to help, not on Facebook for me.
Right.
And so it was to be okay with that decision and then serve the people on the platform that works the best for you.
So, what jazzes you up the most about what you do? What do you love the most?
So, well, I'll give a little bit of a backstory. One of the reasons I do this is because it changes family and generational DNA, and
Yes.
is it can change everything. I have 5 children, two of them biological, three adopted. Three adopted as teenagers from a different country. I got to see up close and personal what a change in environment and thought
Mhm.
processes can do for an individual. So I know I'm the coach that gets to help people have the same, which is why I probably jumped at the opportunity was I help people who care about their families and their clients and their community. It is
Mhm.
about everybody wants to know how to turn on the money spigot. And I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
we can help because money's just energy. I only care what and why do you want to do that?
So it's
So
the value.
mhm, I
What
get to
kind of value are you creating? Are you creating intrinsic value, meaning for human beings, or are you creating extrinsic value, which is money?
right. And it's just there's a need for all types of coaches. And
Hmm.
I understood that this is who I am and this is who I help.
That's amazing. Oh, I love it. And so, why women? Why women in particular?
Well, I'll go back to that industry I was in.
Oh, yeah.
And I was usually, in the time frame I was working, was usually the first woman hired in those positions for asset managers, and then especially in that world. And
Yeah.
I really had to fight my way around. And it's why I said when I moved here, I had to figure it out. I was like, I don't understand your rules, let alone that it's challenging. And the financial service industry loses more women than it keeps.
Yes.
Yet the world needs more women in financial services. And they haven't been able to figure it out. And not that, that's not the only arena that I play in, but they can hear that message, is that they'll have a propensity to accept the glass ceiling in their head. They'll choose to limit how many people they can help. Some will leave the big box corporate ones and become a small independent and stay small because they've told themselves the story that that's how they can best serve.
Mm-hmm.
And I just go to Wall Swaddles and the Science of Getting Rich.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is to become wealthy so that they can help the people behind them. So that's why.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I love that. So, what's the biggest transition that you've been through, either personally or professionally, that really, really challenged you to the core of your being? And what did you learn from it?
Um, when I was 20, my dad was medically retired.
Mm,
I was in school in England because I am that risk taker. I had gone with a different um, college degree with a roommate. Her and I, out of the whole exchange program, had been offered to be the only two who would stay and finish their degree there at the City University in London. And I had
wow.
it down because my best friend called me and said, "You need to come home," because they had not told me my dad had become ill. And it just changed the way I looked at everything. I realized I didn't understand anything. I think we know so much, and yet when you're 20 and now your dad has lost his role and he never went back to that job. They would never medically release him. He ended up being fine. He actually went on to earn more money than he would have there. But you start to feel like the ground is quicksand below you. And that I learned then that I was responsible for me and that I had to stand up for what I needed to know and do. And it propelled me to be able to, there were places that ethically I did not match up with. And I was like, I am not staying here. I don't care about the paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I'm glad it happened early because life is not a straight path. It doesn't mean that there weren't other ones. I think for women, the hardest thing is to ever get let go from a job.
Oh, yeah.
And that company that I said that moved me out to California, within 11 months let me go because the recession had hit. And
Oh, yeah.
all I said, and this was true, I didn't cry during the meeting because we're emotional. And I said the best thing was I did not cry because I was the number one salesperson. And
How
I
did
got
that happen? Oh,
because
my goodness.
because the president of the company wanted to save his really great friend who had been with the company for 20 years in a different division. So I also learned that I hadn't done anything.
Mm-mm.
And I thought, that's it teaches you a lot. But
Yep.
if I hadn't have had the impact early, not even out of college yet, I would have been more impacted by that. And it's why women will choose to not go back in and fight that fight. I could have
Mm-hmm.
easily ended up in financial services. I was 11 months into a sales career and had moved states to do that,
Mm.
but I stayed in it.
Well, having been laid off 4 times in my career,
Yep.
You know, one of the lessons that I learned is very similar to what you just said, um, about having to be responsible for you.
Mhm.
Uh, my mom and dad wound up splitting up when I was 16, and I at that point I learned probably the biggest lesson in my whole life was nobody's going to take care of you but you.
Yep.
So no matter what, make sure you're taking care of yourself.
Yep.
Hold on
Agree.
one second.
100%.
My husband's looking at me out the window. Oh, please. He knows I'm on a podcast. I don't let him in when I'm on a podcast.
Okay, my dogs are
So,
locked in the
yeah.
bedroom.
Yeah. So, okay. So I have three questions that I ask at the end of every episode. We're coming up on our time. So I'll ask you to literally close your eyes
Okay.
and describe the picture that appears in your mind when I say wise woman, and then open your eyes and tell me about her.
So she's waiting to help all the people she's supposed to help. And if she doesn't bet on herself, there's a stream of people behind her that she's not helping change their life.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness. That's great. I love that. I love it. So, where do you like to roam?
I'm a rebel and I love to travel. Um, I think that there's so many great places to see that I've never been to the same place twice. And
Yeah.
so I can tell you what's on my screensaver behind because I put up there where I'm going next and it's Scotland.
Oh, yay. That sounds like fun. Do you have, did you come from there? Do you know your genealogy?
So my dad's side of the family was Doer Scotch whiskey. And so
Oh,
yeah, people go, oh, you must be. No, the government took the distilleries over
right.
way back when. But it's just always been someplace I wanted to go. And it's just the time now. And it's interesting because the picture I have up there is from a castle that apparently you can't go in. But,
You're probably
things
going to go in it.
happen. We were just in Mexico, and there in our training class was Jamie and Lisa from Scotland sitting in front of me. I go, oh, okay, this is how it's happening.
You never know. But you, when things happen, you have to be open to it. You have to be
Oh, you
watching
have to
for
be
it.
ready,
You have
ready
to
to
have
go.
that vision right in front of you every single day. That's how you make it happen. That's how I made my lifestyle happen.
See?
For 7 years, I concentrated on this is what I wanted to do
Yep.
before I was too old to enjoy it, you know. Um, so I'm loving it now. Now I've got to figure out what's my next one.
So where are you going next?
I'm probably Ireland because we were going to go to Ireland during, and then COVID happened and it derailed our Ireland trip. And
Yep.
my husband still has family in Ireland. He's off the boat Irish, so his
Oh
parents
God,
are anyway. Yeah. So we can't
love.
wait to go. Final
No,
question.
okay.
What makes you restless in a good way?
There's so many people to help. So many people to help.
Yeah, I know. It makes me, I'm in the same business as you, and it makes me just overwhelmed sometimes with how can I get to the ones I'm supposed to get to,
I
you
wake
know?
up almost 99% of the time without an alarm clock, and I get up
Oh,
early.
yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
And I heard somebody once say that he was so excited that he barely could go to sleep. Also, another coach, because there's just so much to do, which there
Oh,
is. There's so much, there's just so much to do.
and it's great when it's so much to do and it's all stuff you really love doing.
I go,
Yeah.
look, I get paid to read books and listen to podcasts like this. I'm like,
Hmm.
and I get to ask questions.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it.
Good role.
Oh, well, it has been such a pleasure. Such a pleasure, Ellen. And we are definitely going to stay in touch. I'll link in with you on LinkedIn for sure. And I'll ask you, where should people go to access your services and get your help?
Yep, find me on LinkedIn. Ellen
Okay,
Tyler, Ellen Tyler Coaching. There is a website being redone, but I hang out on LinkedIn.
great. That's where I'm hanging out too. So we'll see you there.
Thanks,
All right,
Julie.
folks, that's the end of this episode. Thank you again, Ellen, for joining us. You were marvelous and so many wisdom nuggets there. I'm telling you.
Thanks,
Guys,
Julie.
make sure you take a look at the show notes where I'll put Ellen's contact information, her LinkedIn profile, I'll put down there, and then link in with her. She's a marvelous resource. Take care.
Thank you. So much fun.
Julie Noonan here. Thank you so much for listening to Roaming with Restless Women. If you're a successful senior woman leader who would like to be on this program, please visit podcast.intuitivewisdomcoach.com. If you enjoyed this interview, please share this episode on social media and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any future episodes. Your thumbs up, ratings, and reviews go a long way to help promote the show, and they mean a lot to me, my team, and most importantly, my restless guests. As a special gift to you, our listeners, I offer a free one-on-one 15-minute breakthrough session. Bring a problem and experience how coaching works to see if it could be of value to you. Sign up for an available time on my website, intuitivewisdomcoach.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.